So first thing up first, as always, we have the dollar. So with the DXY, of course, as a whole, market is pretty bearish, very consistent with the lower lows and lower highs. And as you can see, we are testing the upper end of this channel. So with the directional bias, it very much is make or break. If price does respect the high of this channel and breaks through this counter trend line, I'll be pretty bearish on the pair. And at that point, I won't be looking for any buying opportunities. On the flip, if price does break the channel to the upside, that for me is a very bullish signal, and I'll be very keen to be looking for opportunities to take dollar to the upside. So shorting euro, shorting pound, and I'm probably looking at something like this, maybe a nice inverse head and shoulder pattern. Have your left shoulder over here, your head, your right shoulder, and now with the opportunity to go along, something like that. We'll see how the breakout forms, but that's kind of what I'll be eyeing up. But it's in the make or break area. Make or break area. Price is still correctively pushing along. Haven't really seen anything too different since yesterday. Momentum hasn't really entered the chat. We do have CPI later this afternoon, so maybe that will be the catalyst to get the dollar rolling. We'll have to wait and see. But it's still a little bit in limbo, so I'm not going to necessarily have too strong of a bias right now, because in actual fact, I'm waiting for a bit more information before I do cement that bias, whether I'm seeing signs of a breakout or seeing signs of price rejecting the up end of the trend line and breaking through the counter trend line. Then, of course, that will kind of point the direction for me. But the biggest takeaway is we're corrective, coming to an interesting area where a lower high could form. You're trading in this area of supply. Let's see if we do push down or do push up. And I think maybe this afternoon we will find the answer to that question. As for EURUSD, pretty much the same situation, but flipped, of course. This has been correcting to the downside, so we've had a big bullish leg. Price has been pushing down. Again, overall, the market is still bullish, don't get me wrong. We got this lovely ascending channel, which price is still trading in... Oh, wrong way there. Still trading within, and still just about respecting the limits of this channel here as well. So it's the same situation, same logic with Euro as with the DXY. Of course, most of the time they are the inverse of each other. If we do see a strong break of this counter trend line, perhaps that's the signal that, okay, euro dollar is ready to push the upside, especially if we see the DXY doing the same thing on the DXY chart. If we see the DXY breaking to the downside, then of course that will be a clear sign that euro is ready to break high as well. And of course, the other side to that coin is if we do break to the downside aggressively, well, I'll be very keen to be looking for shorting opportunities. A push like this, breaking through the channel, tells me that, okay, that bullish trend is tired, it's running out of steam. Looking for a lower high, perhaps even on the retest of this area. Really nice textbook head and shoulder pattern. That would be very nice. Left head, right shoulder. And hopefully we can take some shorts there, back into the neckline, and we'll see how far we can go. So really, I quite like the shorts, to be honest. So I'm just waiting to see if that can happen. We'll, again, probably get the answer this afternoon. Hopefully we do anyway. If we continue to consolidate that for the week, it'll be a pretty boring week, to be honest. So hopefully we do get the breakout. Pound USD, again, kind of showing signs that we are likely to break lower, to be honest. This one, again, similar case to Euro, in terms of you had that channel, price was ascending to the upside, just rebounding highs, rebounding lows, nothing too spectacular. But recently we have broken to the downside out of this trend line. Price is trading below. Now, the key thing I said yesterday is still I do want to see the break of this low here, because of course this is the low that gave us the high. The breakout of the channel isn't always the best method to measure if a trend is necessarily going to continue or not. It's a good method, but you want structures to follow that up as well. If we can break below here, that really puts that really shows to me that, okay, the buyers completely run out of steam here. Likely we are going to push lower, so we'll be looking for a pullback at that point and some shorting opportunities. And I really like the look of pound, especially if I take this to the daily chart. You can see we've just gone and taken out a major swing high there on the daily. So the market's quite stretched. Typically when we do take out major highs and lows, typically we do see pullbacks after. Maybe this is the pullback coming to play. You can see we've been very corrective on the daily chart as well. So I think a move to the downside is likely. So I do expect to see dollar strength come into the market. I do expect us to break higher for the DXY. I do expect euro to break lower. Expecting pound USD to continue lower as well. So that's really what I'm waiting for. I'm not looking to jump the gun and get into any trades until I get the confirmations, but that's kind of where I'm expecting. I'll be more surprised if suddenly we were to be bullish and this trend does continue. I'll be quite surprised if that happens. Of course, as a trader, you always want to be adaptable. So if it does happen, is there an opportunity that follows? That's really the question you should be asking. But I would expect us to keep falling. And if we can break through the low, great. We'll talk about some shorts afterwards. Dollar CAD, not the biggest fan of this one, to be honest, just because it's very, very messy. And it's like prices consolidating in the middle of a potential range, really. So we've got the equal lows down here. Not necessarily equal highs, but we've got a solid level of resistance above us. The price right now is kind of in no man's land. So neither really testing major resistance, neither testing major support. I wouldn't really want to be doing my business in this area. I feel like it's almost 50-50 which way price wants to go. We had the lovely breakout of this descending channel last week. Really nice momentum last Monday. Didn't really provide much of a pullback to get into that, to be honest. It was just a straight breakout, and now we're just trapped in this consolidation. I spoke on the weekend about potentially some buys down at the lows or even some sells up at the highs here. The market, after all, is still pretty bearish. We are still falling, as we have done since the start of the year. A push back into that high, I think, is a sensible place to short from. So really for dollar CAD, waiting for us to come back into areas of significance before getting involved. I feel like if you're getting involved here, you're asking for a little bit of trouble. Not that you won't find a successful trade, but I think conditions are very choppy. It's difficult to really reprice well in this area unless you're going for very small kind of scalps, off highs, off lows. I reckon you can get away with that. Any type of swing is difficult when price is messy like that. But yeah, I would keep a close eye on 1.378, even 1.355. I think big levels can get some nice reactions off those areas, and we'll see where price goes from there. But dollar CAD, not a fan of this one at the moment. Aussie dollar, still looking for the same idea of the retest of the upper end of the channel to short this one. So something like this. There we go. So yeah, looking for a push back into roughly 0.62, 662 or 663. Anywhere up here would be nice. Maybe even 664, 665 maybe. But anywhere up at the up end of the channel, that's really the goal. It's not specifically the price, it's more so can we test the upper limits of this channel and potentially look to sell to the downside back into the low of the channel, or then maybe a breakout as well. Again, when price is very corrective like this, typically we normally break lower. So I'm naturally only looking to short the market. This is a very, very tight bullish market at this point in time. So I'm not really interested to try and keep buying it, look for higher lows. My best guess is that we're likely to sell off, and that's going to be the bigger, more impulsive move. So I'd rather position myself with that in mind. At the moment, kind of just dancing in the middle right now. I think we might see a rally. We're looking a little bit tight. So if we do, we'll keep an eye for some shorts. And then, yeah, the plan is short it back to the low of the range. Maybe we're lucky for a breakout. Can always leave some positions to run. So I'm keeping an eye on Aussie dollar to see if we can get up there. In terms of New Zealand dollar, not a big fan of this one. Similar characteristics to Aussie in terms of we're moving in the channel. We've been respecting the highs and lows pretty well. Recently, we smacked into the high end of the channel. Respected it pretty well. Nice move down. Now price is kind of just dancing a little bit in the middle. So this is where the noise is. Where I said, again, I don't want to be getting involved at these areas. If I'm looking to buy or sell, I'm looking to get involved at the highs and lows. In the middle is where the most chaos is, the most indecision will be. And that's just going to be a lot harder for me to get some consistent trades with a good stop loss as well. I'd rather get my stops above these highs or above these lows. So New Zealand dollar, unless we were to come back into any of these areas, then yes, there might be some opportunities for a long or for a short, or even for a breakout as well. So keep an eye on that. But since we've had the rejection of the high, the plan has been for a push into the low. So I still do expect a bit more downside for New Zealand dollar, but I'm not willing to jump into some shorts along the way because really I want to be up here, not down there. So unless we were to come back up again, then yeah, maybe there might be some shorts. But if that doesn't happen, then there's no real trade there for me. Couldn't get my words out there. Over to gold. Gold, yeah, annoying price action, and this is literally what I was saying yesterday. Because during yesterday, I think gold was rallying a little bit, was showing some signs that it might break out. I said just be very, very careful with gold. It's a very, very choppy market. So if you're going to do your business, you're in there for a short time, not a long time, because the chances of price kind of suddenly turning around is pretty high in these conditions. When things are chopping around, the rate of reversal, the rate of just price fluctuating is quite high. So if you're looking for any sustained move, the chances are price is just going to go against you at some point. So you want to be taking your profits pretty quickly, respecting levels of support and resistance, because the chances are they're going to hold, of course, until they don't. But as I said yesterday, I like this level of support, and I also like this level of support as well. The way I see the market is we are long-term bullish, of course. We've got that higher time frame uptrend in place, so I'm generally looking to buy the market. But because we are so flat in the lower time frames, the way I see it is I just want to find healthy levels where I can position long and put a healthy stop loss. And these two are areas that tick that box, or those boxes. Very strong support once, twice. If we get there again, I would expect at least another bounce. You can see on its own it's been holding very well as support. Likewise with this level, really big move to the upside away from all the noise. If I can get stops underneath that, I know I'm positioned well. Doesn't mean I'll be successful with the trade, but at least the market's going to have to work pretty hard to get my stop. And if I am right, I'm very well positioned to capitalize on a big swing. And even if the market does get noisy again, I'm away from all of that choppiness. So I like the idea of just buying low at these areas, 32.60 or 31.50. In and around here, I would be very, very careful. And if you are looking to get into trades, like I said, I'll keep it short and sweet. Look for a quick move here. If momentum starts to die out, start to probably look to take some positions off. If you see some big red flags, maybe just close the trade altogether, just because conditions are not great. As for silver, though, very nice breakout. I'm really liking the look of silver. It's a pair on my watch list. I'm keeping a close eye on. Seeing some downsides, so I am getting interested now for silver. We're looking very, very bullish on the stream yesterday, I believe. We were kind of around here before we had the bit of a drop. So now we've had a bit of a drop. We're not too far away from the retest of this level. It is looking somewhat likely we could come back for a retest in the next coming days. So definitely going to keep a close eye at 37.3. Again, we are so close to that big psychological level of 40. That for me is like the next big target for silver. So close for that. So if we can pull back, retest this area, I think that looks like a really nice opportunity. A market that's extremely bullish, and I do think it's got a lot more upside for us. I think we've just been consolidating for quite a while, and now finally we've picked up the pace. Maybe we can start to see a similar trend to what we've had with gold recently. I know that's asking for a lot, but I do think silver's got that potential. So keeping a close eye on silver. Love the area for a retest here, not too far away. Let's see if we can get retest and some buys, and next targets, of course, wherever that swing high is, but I think 40 is a big target for silver in the next few days, few weeks. So very, very bullish as a whole.